Everyone has a squirrel story. An anecdote pertaining to a pesky squirrel hanging around their home or a friendly one sharing a snack. My neighbor told me a story when we first moved in about a squirrel that would use his garden to bury food. Then he'd find big holes in the ground when the squirrel would dig the food back up. Someone else told me of a squirrel that would watch her eat on her patio until one day she actually shared her food. She ended up feeding the squirrel every day until the squirrel trusted her enough to eat the food out of her hands. In asking basically everyone I've come into contact with recently, a lot of the stories had one thing in common. These squirrels were usually pesky and mischievous and often had to be chased out or captured. More than a few folks were bitten during their encounters with squirrels, and my fiance and I even thought we had one living in our wall. Nuts is a squirrel story, much like one you may have, but with a bit of a shift in perspective. You play as a researcher studying the movements and behaviors of squirrels in a particular forest. Your boss, Nina, sends you out to complete the tasks with a 3-camera setup to track the squirrels. From here, you use the 3 cameras, set them up however you like, and capture footage and pictures of the squirrels to send back. The puzzle mechanics here are a delight. The squirrels are adorable, and finding the best way to track down your squirrel's food stash is rewarding. I could swear sometimes the squirrels were purposely leading me astray. Anytime I'd try to make a guess as to the little critter's destination, I'd almost always be wrong. That's when the squirrel didn't seem to be leading me in a big circle just to keep me on my toes. These are smart and tricky creatures, and you'll have to account for every possibility to catch them. The purpose of your squirrel surveillance is to determine if the forest is inhabited by animals. A big corporation is planning to use the land for their own nefarious needs and want to destroy the forest to do so. So by providing evidence that the forest is inhabited by squirrels, the project will cease. You and Nina soon uncover that the corporation is already starting on their project without approval, and are even planting false news stories about the condition of the forest to gain public trust, and it's our job, and the squirrels, to stop them. One squirrel story I heard from a Twitch viewer was that they kept stealing food from their bird feeder. In fact, squirrel-proof bird feeder is one of the top Google searches when you type in squirrel. It got me thinking, why should the bird feeder exclusively feed birds? Why are squirrels seen as less appealing creatures to have around? In Nuts, you never truly find out if you were able to save the squirrels and their forest. While following a squirrel, you fall off a cliff and one steals your notebook. And while trying to get it back, you learn that it was leading you to where the entire scurry of squirrels had been stashing food, on an abandoned boat. These squirrels were trying to save you all along, all while you were trying to help them. You sail off in hopes of bringing the corporation to justice, and the credits roll. As the final dialogue moment in the game, Nina on a tape-recorded message reminisces about her time with the squirrels out in that forest. She is completely mindful of the sun hitting her, the fresh forest air, and her squirrel friends. She mentions how someone could bottle up the sunshine and sell it. Then backtracks, realizing a feeling like that should be free to everyone. We have a beautiful world, and we're sharing with every living animal, and if birds can be fed from a feeder, then so can the squirrels in your neighborhood. No squirrel-proof feeder needed.